Hey folks, I'm Michael Mercadel. I have our guest on, AJ Marasco. He's in studio today. We are here to recap the first race of the 2022 season in Ocala, Florida, the RCDRL opener at Don Garlett's Museum of Drag Racing. AJ, how you doing?
Good, Mike. How are you?
Doing well, man. Doing well. I was sickened that I wasn't there at the race this past weekend, but it didn't look like it stopped the show. I've always said, if I can't make it, the show must go on, and you guys did just that, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it was definitely, we were so eager to get out there. I'm always eager to race. I just want to race. I mean, I could race every weekend if I really wanted to, but I know I definitely got to take a break here and there. But man, even though we just finished the 21 season, it felt like forever to start this race again, to start over the season. I mean, I was dying to get out there, and it was definitely a blast. I always like going out to the RCDRL series. It's just a different vibe you get, compared to the other races. So it's something nice to look forward to, and it's just a good time, getting to see everyone's faces, and never once, usually you see anyone that's ever mad. They always leave that track, even if they crash, with a smile on their face.
That's the motto, man. I've always said that to my admin staff. We want people to leave there losing in first round and having a great time, can't understand why they want to come back the next time, so you just hit that right on the head.
And that actually happened. I think it was the first race ever whenever the RCDRL came to Florida, and it happened to be, I think it was Joey Polk, exactly. And it's just funny how everything works out, and how we're all buddies now. And but I still remember that day is, we ran, I think it was Pro Street, and first round I had him, and I beat him. I just said, like, good job, and he had a smile on his face, and he was just happy. I'm like, wow. I'm like, this is definitely a different kind of breed of people, for drag racing side of things, compared to the off-road stuff. So that was really cool. Once I got to see that, that just definitely sets the tone, of what this racing is about.
Yeah, and I remember when you were first introduced to it, many people said you weren't going to stick around because you're a heavyweight on the off-road scene. And I was like, gosh, I don't know this guy, and but AJ just seems to be, the clean cut, soft-spoken but deadly on the track. You're a perfect ambassador for all your sponsors, J Concepts and whoever else you have. I see you sporting J Concepts right now. That's too cool. They play an intricate part, and one of our partners for many years running. So, that's cool. I know you got stolen away from them, I think sometime last year, but that's another whole story, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, the culture, right? The culture that we have out there is with purpose and intent. It's not by accident that you feel and see a difference there, because that's what we strive for. Right after this race was over with, I was on the phone with JoJo and with Richard, yourself, and many others to talk about, what went right was great. We don't want to harp on what went wrong, but we do want to always try to do a little better, to never be satisfied. I think it's very important. So with that, I think the league over the last 8 years has grown like that, right? And there's like I said, it's with purpose and intent.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. We're always, I mean, I always try to look for things to definitely improve at the track at all times. If there's never anything to look forward to, I don't, it's just something different. Nothing's ever perfect, but that's what makes the fun in it.
Yes.
It's it's always looking for that one thing to keep it going and just making it better. I mean, it never seems to be the best, but it's, it's still the best, but it's just, it can be even better,
Right. And that's what we strive for, man. That's what we strive for. So, but you mentioned Joey Polk earlier. I want to give a big shout out to his wife, Muriel. She jumped into the hot seat, the number one stat girl seat. And that young lady right there, from what I understand, she was even on the microphone a little bit. She was working the tree a little bit. And that's some big shoes to fill. And I worked with her quite a bit on the phones. I kept encouraging her. That's perfectly normal. There's so many moving parts. Until somebody sits in that seat, I don't want to hear them complaining nothing about my stat girls, because that's a tough job, and she nailed it. Part.
She did a great job. Definitely her first race without you there. She did amazing. It's cool to see her passionate for doing that, just jumping right in the seat and just doing that. Not a lot of people can do that, just with the announcing and just showing up to work an event. Every time I'm at an event, I don't mind working, but I'm there to race. I like racing, but
you love
but
racing.
For someone, I love racing.
You love it, yeah.
But yeah, for someone to do that and jump in the hot seat like that and put the work in, and for many hours. It's not like it's just 4 hours. It's
Correct.
2 days of testing and then racing, and to be able to do that, and enjoy it, it takes a lot of work, and
and playing mommy in between.
Exactly.
So yeah, hats off to her. Of course, I want to give a big shout out to JoJo. The one area that she needed to make a correction in, because again, constructive criticism, we're always trying to get better, was her announcing from last year. And I heard she was spot on. In fact, I seen some live video, and from what I could hear, because I was listening, she did an excellent job at calling the race and entertaining the crowd, entertaining the racers, the members, the guests. It's all important. So she did a great job.
No, she definitely did. We definitely heard "Ay caramba" a couple times. We all were laughing in the pits about that. But no, she did awesome. She always does awesome. It's cool to have, the Blanco family out there. It just shows the passionate,
Yes.
as a sport, what we do, to see all the families out there having a good time, and the work that gets put in just to have this event. It's not like something we're setting up a track and racing, there's entertainment. It's pretty much like a real full-size racetrack, just scaled down.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's kind of nice to get that vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. And while we're giving shout outs, of course, her husband, that, without him, none of this is at all possible. He called me a few years ago about it. Richard Madera is another one, that they all play, intricate roles. And of course, Kevin Mccoy, coming off the bench, brand new racer, pretty much. He raced with us a few times last year, and, took over the helm at Tech. I'd love to hear more about that from you, but, big shout out to him, and just everyone that, the people that aren't even mentioned are the people that are like near the finish line, that gets the blocks or, straightens up the side rails. It's truly a community effort, and it should be. And we have a lot to be grateful for with RCDRL Florida right now. You guys are literally hitting on all 8 cylinders. It's really cool.
Yeah, and I think that comes back to, all of us just wanting the race. It's something different to when, whenever you lose a track, it's a really big hit. And I think that's something where, yeah, where we all have passion to race. So we definitely want to keep that track around for kind of quite a long time. So we want to try to provide as much help we can, and support the race any way we can. I can speak for myself for sure. A $20 bill goes a long way, with, track equipment to, track prep or anything. So, that, I could speak for myself, as that's definitely, something I like to at least do or help out in any way, shape or form. Just keep racing going for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So it was what was it, 120 entries, man? I'm not
Mhm.
sure if that broke a record or not. I wanted to check. Something's telling me that you guys have been at 128, but I could be getting it mixed up with Texas. Um, that 120 was very strong. Hopefully it'll, sustain right around there or maybe get a little higher. I know we did one race in Texas. I'll never forget this, and it was an opener as well. 188 entries for a 1 day race, and it was the Jimmy Showers Memorial. So people came from all over the country that knew Jimmy Showers, and he passed away actually on my birthday, January 2nd, maybe 2018, maybe 17, somewhere around there, and it literally caused problems. I mean, 188 entries for a 1 day race, 10 classes. Our admin team rocked, but we were rocked, dead tired at the end of the day. Of course, we finished in the dark, but we got it done. And I got a little nervous when I saw you guys were at I think 113. Then it was
Mhm.
115. I'm like, oh boy, if we get to about that 120, 130, 140, it becomes taskful. It really is, and especially if it's warm outside, people get a little more agitated or whatever. So, and they have a lot of pressure underneath that tent. So hats off to the entire crew that kept the race
Yeah.
going, you know.
Yeah, I think definitely the crew definitely knocked it out of the park for sure. And I think what helped was definitely the run order change seemed to
I heard you had a
help
little bit
out
to do
the
with that too, man.
yeah, a little bit.
Good.
Seemed to definitely help out oh, fist pump.
That's right. That's right.
Um yeah, for sure it definitely helped it keep it flowing. Definitely wasn't as much downtime, with the foam tire guys, running most of the foam tire classes,
Right.
running all back to back. So definitely splitting it up, it seemed to carry it around keep it going forward, a lot quicker.
Mhm.
So we were able to get the show done pretty fast, starting the Q1 at 10 o'clock, I think it was 10 a.m.
Yep.
And I think we got done right around 6:20 ish
Yep. Yep. I
by the
was
time
on.
everything. So
Yeah, I was. I plugged in right around that time. Of course, I was helping out with registration and new memberships and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden, um, while I'm on the phone with them, I could hear, watch the lights and this, that, and the other. I'm like, oh, so they're doing test and tune as well. Okay, cool. And then all of a sudden, I hear from JoJo and Mike. I was on the phone with Muriel. It's like, okay, that's it. That's it. And it was right around like 9:50 or so. And I'm like, okay, good. I looked at the time, and sure enough, so you got started on time. And I remember as Muriel got better and JoJo got into a flow, the phone calls kind of slowly stopped, and it was like they were almost set up for all the semifinals. So I was like, all right, cool. And the next thing I know, I get a text, we're done. I'm like, wait, I missed the finals. You know what I mean? It was like instantly they were just done. So I was like, cool. So then I hurried, went on drag track, and and checked out the winners and the teams that did really well. Big shout out to a new gen, Carlos Zayas and Jose Carrion and his sister. I don't remember her first name, but Carlos's sister was out there, and I heard she did really well. And I believe it was top alcohol. I think she made it to the finals or something. We're going to do a race recap here in a little bit, but I saw his write up on Facebook. I thought it was really cool. That's so
yeah,
cool. You have the pleasure of racing with both your sisters. Sometimes, is it your sisters? Yeah, yeah, right.
too, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then of course your dad, so you have the family affair going. When my son was racing, it was very special to me. And I hope to get him back out there one of these days. I'd love to bring him to Florida. He doesn't like to travel race, for some reason. Every time he went to Louisiana or every time he went to California, he destroyed something with his car and he bowed, and then it messes him up when he goes back home for his actual point series. It screws him
Uh,
up. So he's like, if I go somewhere, I'm not bringing a car. He's He's kind of funny like that. But yeah, we tried to get Joy Polk on here, right? And he was unavailable. So I said, hey man, let's do it. Let's solo this thing and jump into this race recap and talk about it as you recall certain things, blurt it out. Let's try to relive the Florida Open. All right.
All right.
So, well, we'll be right back. We're going to stop for a quick break, and folks, we'll be right back after this.
Speed. It's something we crave. Heart-stopping, soul-stirring, mind-rattling.
Hey, I wanna go.
Loud and hot, yet cool all at once. Speed doesn't care where you're from, what you look like, or what you drive.
I said, hey, watch me.
Young and old, guys and gals, gearheads, tech geeks.
You gotta go. I wanna.
The only thing that matters to Speed
I got the movement and the attitude. I got something you could do.
is getting there fast.
I'm getting it there, but these other guys are out there, man.
Speed doesn't belong to anyone. It belongs to everyone. Speed for all.
Hey, folks, we are back. We're back. We're going to recap the first race of the 2022 season over in Ocala, Florida. That's at the Don Garlits Museum of Drag Racing. We are so thankful to be there. They love us. We love them. And we're going to race there as long as we possibly can. But this race was on February 27th. And like I said, it was a kickoff race. They had 120 entries. Amazing. And we're going to jump right into Top Fuel. And in this case, it is Top Fuel Funny Car. Jose Carrion came in as your number 3 qualifier and went right through the field. He got past. He got into the finals. I'm sorry, and he raced, of all people, his teammate Carlos Zayas, 2-time defending champion, and he was able to put him on the trailer. Let's go to the tail of the tape here. In the finals. In the finals, what happened was Carlos Zayas DQ'd. Okay, but Jose was ready for him. Jose cut an 053 light to Carlos's 110, and Carlos was unable to finish, cross center line, hit the wall, blew the track up something. I don't know. I wasn't there. Bottom line is, Carrion went through at a 139 at 97 miles an hour, actually a 139 with a 5 to take the Top Fuel win. Oh, you know what? I said he was a 2-time champion. Carlos is a 2-time champion in Pro Mod. This is Top Fuel Funny Car. So I got a little bit ahead of myself, and so my apologies. This next class is Pro Street. And Pro Street, this in studio guest here knows a little bit about that. What do you think of those? We had 17, including yourself. So you had 16 other competitors, AJ. What do you think of this class and where it's evolved and how it's been so far over the last couple of years?
Oh, I mean, it's this class is definitely has grew, I think, really, really fast for what it is, as an RC as an RC class. It's something that anyone can really get into, as in, buying, either a Traxxas car or a DR10. It definitely upgrade the system a little bit so that you can get into technical stuff like that. But overall, it's this class has become very popular. It's something, with the bodies and the bigger scale, I think really attracts people with, the different body types you can get for these cars and make it look, something that anyone can relate to, as in, if they have a car back home or if they used to have this car. So this class has definitely grew, and a lot of people have the rubber tire stuff. It's something you can kind of race at the back of the house, and then just take it to RCDRL and go have fun, there. So I think it's something that's one of the biggest classes on the horizon, that we've had, minus Street Eliminator, which is somewhat the same, just not heads up racing.
Right. A
So
little
it's in the
different.
same kind of category.
Yeah, that muscle car. Like
Yeah.
you said, guys grew up with these type cars, or their parents owned them, or they owned them themselves.
Mhm.
Absolutely. But man, during qualifying, you smoked it off the trailer, as we call it in drag racing. You went 186 with an 8. You cut an 020 reaction time. You were in it to set a statement. I don't think last year we were ever in the ones, if I'm not mistaken.
I
Uh,
did end the season on a 1.9 last
okay.
year.
Okay.
I was trying some new stuff, but this season starting off fresh, I am trying a whole new combo, and I've been testing a lot lately and just trying to. This is actually the first time on prep I've tried this combo.
No kidding. Well, it works. Congratulations on putting down a 1.8. That 186.8, man, was smoking. I mean, I called for a complete teardown and to try to find nitrous bottles. So, but Jonathan Joyner right behind you with a 194.3. Dave French, man, it's so good to see, and I'm sorry I missed them, but it's so good to see Dave and Sherry French back with the RCDRL. I hope it's forever this time, man. I just love that couple, man.
Yeah, they're definitely good people. I've seen he's been doing a lot of YouTube videos lately, so he's been trying to. It's been good, he's trying to push the RC scene, the RC drag racing scene a lot, with doing videos down south at his local home track down in Okeechobee, and then also posting videos with RCDRL. So
yeah, in fact, he
it's really
posted
good
one.
What he's doing
Today is I saw one out today, in fact. But yeah,
Okay,
no
today.
prep, it don't matter, man. It's all we're all drag racers. Folks down there in Okeechobee, they're doing a great job. I love their setup. Yeah, absolutely, they're doing a good job. So he came in as a number 3 qualifier, with a 2 flat. And in fact, he got a personal text from me when he did that, man. I was like I said, I was on drag track watching the numbers come in, and I was like, go ahead. And Joey Trotman, good to see him back. Hopefully it'll last. I heard that, he's got some issues with his job. Hey, work comes first, family first. And he may not always make it out, but a 2039. He's been doing some testing. I'm not sure who Todd McKenzie is. I don't know if you know him from back, but that was a new name for me, and he went a brilliant 209 as well. So, and in the number 6 spot, it was your dad running 210. I think that was a personal best, huh?
Yeah, that was my car, my second car.
Okay, all right.
Backup.
All right, Justin McFarland in the number 7 spot ran 212. Now this is all a Q1, so things probably changed up a little bit. There's 17 cars, but we're gonna talk about like the top 8. Rich Font went through at a 214.6. So you know what, everybody was flying. You know what, I gotta mention the next 2. So we'll go to top 10 because Joey Polk 215.4 and Sherry French rounded out the top 10 with a 215.7. When Dave was racing last year in 2000, I don't think Sherry was racing yet. I think she started racing in early 2021. So I can't wait to see her make her first pass.
Yeah, she's been driving really great. I actually did watch her a little bit on Saturday in testing, and her driving has definitely come a long way because I watched her a couple times down south, down the no prep scene, and she's doing really good. But she seemed to have a lot more control over this past weekend on the car, and it's really cool to see someone that new and have that throttle control to correct a car that fast, or knowing the car's getting out of shape. So it's really nice to be able to see someone new like that and drive these cars, with the speeds we're going, actually be able to control them. That's actually really nice.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It does take a lot of hand and eye coordination, man. Over in Q2, who is this? Casey Funston. Oh, Must not have done. Okay, yeah, he came in as number 15 qualifier going into Q2, stepped it up big time, went 193.3 in Q2. So is that a no prep guy that's trying to figure out prep, or do you know who that is?
Yep. Yeah, he's from I think he's from Fort Myers, I believe. So he does a lot of the no prep stuff.
Okay, because I was going to say for just some newbie to go that fast, now he's got some experience. It's just that he may not
Yeah.
have figured out prep yet, and I'm sure by the end of the weekend, I'm sure he has a better idea. But he came as number 2 with a 193. The only other person to really step up from Q1 to Q2 was Alan Cryer, jumped up 5 spots to the number 6 spot with a 205.6, knocking Todd and Archie and Justin down 1 block. But nonetheless, it was a solid field. The bump spot was a 226 with a 1, and that was Raul Figueroa. And unfortunately for Doug, I call him Dougie Fresh, McCoy Jr., he was the odd man out. It was 17 cars trying to make a 16-car field. And, I personally love bump spots. I love calling it, especially during qualifying, quick 16 or pro street or any class. It's always fun to have a few more cars than the bump spot.
Yeah, for sure. I always like doing that because I like the challenge of trying to make that car in that field, and it just only tightens the field up. I mean, you said right there, 16 car was a 26. So from number one, or as soon as I definitely wasn't, I was in the 80s, and then the first or the second and third were in the 90s, and then everyone else is, either in the O's or 10s, and it's that right there. Those races right there come all down to the tree.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So that makes it exciting for the racing for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we are spending a little bit more time on this class, folks, because our in-house guest was actually in that class, and he came in as your number 1 qualifier. So it's just more natural. Next week we're gonna, or next time we do the show, we're gonna do our best to get a foam tire guy in here. Maybe we can get some of the winners in foam tire on the show. But in the first round, you had the number 16 qualifier, Mr. Figueroa, and he knew he had to cut a good light against you, and he went 006 red. So he was trying to chop that tree down. He was trying to come after you, and you ran a solid 204.4. So that advanced you to the second round. But then you realized, I guess, in round 2, Justin had already gotten past your dad with the 204. So you stepped it up big time and went 187 with a 0. Did you do much changing to your tune-up between round 1 and round 2?
Yeah, for sure. During qualifying, I ran that off the trailer pass, and I kind of made a couple changes to the car. So, going back to this is a new setup for me. So new setup for me on the first time on prep. I wasn't used to knowing what to do versus my other car. So I definitely turned it down for the first round because the car was definitely being a little tricky with me in qualifying because it was making more power than I've ever had. So I wound up just turning the car down for the first round, and then after the first round, I'm like, all right, I kind of have to hang on it again. So I wound up turning it back up to my tune up from test day, and it did the number it was supposed to do because that tune up I wrote down. It won an 86 in testing, and it wound up going at 87 right there.
Wow.
Or 88, I think it was.
Yeah, and you're talking about 100th of a second. That could just be in the way you stage the car or anything like that. So that's a great job. Over in, looks like the semifinals, you faced off against everyone's friend in Joey Polk. Polk had already gotten past David French. Polk came in as a number 13 qualifier, so he was definitely on the lower half of the field. But he got past number 4 qualifier in Davey French, and then he got past Rich Font in round 2. Faced off against a heavyweight, Bam Bam. You yourself, AJ, you knew you had your hands full. You laid down a good number. Can you recall that semifinal?
Yeah, I kind of knew, after second round, I knew I had Joey. You know, I just kind of kept my car the same. I didn't touch the tune up at all. Like, you know, I'm just gonna go out there and cut a light. You know, because Joey's really good on the tree most of the time. You know, I know he's gonna try to cut a double O on me anytime he can. So so I went out there, tried to focus on the tree a little bit more. I knew I had the car after I figured out that kind of tune up. I'm like, all right, I'll kind of stick with it. And it definitely slowed up a little bit, which I'm never happy about. You know, it's just me as a racer. I'm always trying to push the limits. So
Right. Yes,
so
you
I
do.
left the tune up. I bit my tongue. I left the tune up alone and just went out there and cut a light. And I guess he wound up turning his car up way too much because he kind of knew what he had. And he said he got a little sideways because I asked him, you know, after the race, he said his car went a little bit right towards the center line and spun the tires, but that's because he, you know, kind of threw everything at it.
Sure.
But for sure, it was a good race. You know, I always liked racing Joey, and he always makes it really exciting and
Yeah.
just fun. You
Yeah.
just never know what he's going to do.
You know, I was looking at his reaction times when you said he cuts a lot of great lights. You know, he cut a huge hole shot against Davey French. Another huge, he went 017 against Rich Font. And so, yeah, you do know that you have to cut a good light against him. But you went 029 to his 057, and then you went on to win and advance to the finals. But yeah, I definitely could tell that, you know, and you know what's cool about drag track too, right? Drag track keeps track of all of that with all of your competition, regardless of who it is. Some people take advantage of all that information. Most don't, but at least it's there, you know. But you know, of course, I'm sure with Polk and certain people, you're already familiar enough to know, right, that this guy's good. So,
Yep, for sure.
all right. So on the other side of the ladder, we have not mentioned his name, but one time, Jonathan Joyner came in as number 3 qualifier and ran the field, got past Sherry French in round 1. Looks like she had a good run. She went 217, which would have been great for last year. You know what I mean? So I look forward to seeing her improve throughout the season as they get reacclimated with prep track racing. And Jonathan then he ran a 195.5. So he's looking, I don't know if y'all sharing tune-ups or not. I highly doubt it. But he's flying. So then he goes up against Alan Cryer, who's always tough. He's our defending champion, I think it was True Street last year.
Street, yeah.
So he's no slouch either. And he put him on the trailer running a personal best. I think it was a personal best 190 with a 0. And then so that advanced him to race Todd McKenzie. So this rookie for RCDRL was really laying him down as well. Let's see where Todd was. Todd got a little lucky against Jonathan Joyner, Junior, 4 times. And but then he corrected things against Chance Sims, went 198 to face off against Jonathan Joyner. So you know what? A 198 versus a 190. On paper, this should have been a really, really good race. Looks like Todd may have thrown a little too much at it. He also went 003 red. And Jonathan Joyner went on to win with a 190 with a 9, 78 miles an hour. Todd slowed to a 207. That puts you and your friend and nemesis in the finals. Take me through the finals, please.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said before, you know, whenever I see a slower lap, I'm never satisfied with that. So, you know, kind of going into that race, I really, you know, my main goal in racing, because I mean, I can tell you, I don't want to say the numbers, but I definitely was a lot faster in testing by a lot.
I love his gamesmanship, you guys. You saw how he said, he's not going to say the numbers. Perfect.
So I kind of wanted to throw one of those heaters down and kind of just put it on the boards to kind of throw the record out there. So I kind of threw it at it, but the track was a little bit different. So I went out there and I knew I just try to cut a light. You know, I always liked racing John. You know, John's a good buddy of mine, and we definitely help each other out quite a bit. So that's really cool to have, two buddies in the final. And I think he turned his car up a little bit, and I turned mine up a lot of bit. And for sure, the tree came down. I wound up going red, and the car drove hard left on me, so I wound up just lifting and just coasting down to the finish line. And I was kind of eager to get that pass in, but when the car drove left, I'm like, there's no way of just driving it back in. So I just lifted it, saved it for another day, pretty much.
There you go. Championship driver, man. That you're saying the right things, you're doing the right things. I tell everybody that your car gets squiggly, click off, and save it for another day. But sorry that happened to you. He was ready for you though, man. He went 012 on the light, goes 189 with a 778 miles an hour. Jonathan Joyner knew he had a heavy weight on the other side of that boxing ring over in the whatever lane. It doesn't show what lanes you guys were in, but
he was on the left. But he was the only other one that knew what I went destined.
Okay. So so that was great, man. That was great. Great final. You actually set the I think you walked away with the record, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a 186 because I was able to back it up.
That's right. I remember I get a list of potential records, and I have to go through and approve them, and I have to usually make a few phone calls if I wasn't there, of course, make sure everything was legal. And sure enough, that one was a legal beagle. So congratulations on the bonus points.
Yeah.
Make sure that we awarded you your bonus points as well. I mean, I could audit it, but I always ask the drivers to help me police me. You know what I mean? So, but hey, let's move on. I'm pulling Track back up again. I accidentally closed it to Pro Mod. So they had 12 cars in Pro Mod. And I know that this is usually the time of day that you are working on your car, and everything.
Yeah.
That you don't know too much about Pro Mod, but we're going to go through the top 10. Do you have Track in front of you?
No, it's on my phone, but
okay. I wasn't sure. But coming in the number, we're going to jump to Q2 because this will be the final qualifying list. Chuy Blanco came in as your number 10 qualifier. Richard Madera, your number 9. Curtis Jenkins, number 8. Roy Brand Jr. Went number 7. Chris Powell jumped up 3 spots, went 158.1, grabbed the number 6 spot. Scary Jerry Steele came in as your number 5 qualifier with the 148.5. Joel Roman was in the number 4 spot, had some trouble in Q2, but he held on to his number 1 qualifying run. Mike Ray went 139.8. Hold on a second. Yeah, 139.8, but I guess something happened. I don't know. It said he went down a spot. Oh, because Kent Wiley went 136.8 for the number 2 spot. He jumped up 10 spots. And Carlos Zayas, in Carlos Zayas fashion, took the number 1 qualifying spot with a 133 with a 1. Went 0-10 on the Christmas tree. He wasn't joking. He wasn't playing.
No, he was not. He never plays when he goes up to the starting line.
He also travels the furthest. Excuse me, I got something in my eye. But he also travels the furthest, like I think I heard 8 hours.
If we had a coin toss, he'd win every time.
Mm-hmm.
He'd get to choose.
Exactly. He had the away team, right? The visiting team for sure. For sure, man. Over on the brackets, once we got started, like I said, 12 car field, so no bye runs in first round. Carlos faced off against his teammate in round number 1. Carlos goes 132 with a 6 to advance to the second round. Roy Brand, he had to face in second round. Roy Brand had trouble and red lit. Carlos goes 133 with a 2. So that car is a bracket car right now. Then he did get the bye run to advance to the finals. And that bye run, he goes 133 with a 6. So I haven't seen bracket cars that consistent, man.
Yeah.
On the other side of the ladder, it was your number 2 qualifier, Kent Wiley, getting past Jose Torres in round 1. He got past his buddy Curtis Jenkins in round number 2. And it looks like it was a double DQ, so Jenkins must have done something first. And then Kent Wiley got past the talented Mike Ray in the semifinals to advance to the finals. Looked like another double DQ there. And I think I did get a phone call about that when Mike Ray crossed the center line before Kent crossed the center line. But good to see Mike Ray back as well. And, in the final, it wasn't pretty, but Kent Wiley must have gotten DQ'd. He went 137.8, but Carlos got the win, even though Carlos did not finish. So maybe not the prettiest final, but congratulations to both Carlos and Kent Wiley in Pro Mod. Have you ever driven a Pro Mod car?
I actually have, I think twice. I drove Richards a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't flip his car over, did you?
No, actually, that thing went straight down the track.
Ah, okay. Teach him a little.
Great.
All right. I almost want to save this class for last because it's new, and I heard it was a blast. I heard it was comical. I heard there was a lot of pedaling going on. Again, sick that I wasn't there. But, man, tell me about these 11 car entries in the new class, Super Street.
Oh, this class is just screaming for, just fun, because you're just taking these, unlimited power cars and putting front rear bumpers on it and no wheelie bars. So you're just kind of asking for flights. You might as well just bolt some wings on it and just start, go to the airfield. But yeah, I mean, again, it comes back to, everyone that drove their car and, wheelied or went down the track, everyone had a smile on their face. They just had so much fun with it. It's not a horsepower game anymore. It's about how to apply the power. So, there's none of these, cheater motors out there. It's something to, we're just checking our voltage, weight, and making sure it's scale and kind of go have fun. I like the idea of how to keep the car's scale looking, with having the full rear bumpers and making these GTOs and the Mustangs look, out there. We don't really see these bodies much. We either see, the Firebird, the Corvette, and that's really about it. So it's nice to see everyone else's, all the other bodies being promoted. So yeah, again, this class was super fun. A lot of smack talk in the pits just for fun. It was just a blast.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, man. I heard about it. It was like the class to record or to be a part of it, to watch, whatever.
Yeah.
Once again, man, you did really good there in qualifying. I know you. I don't know if you even had time to test other than on Saturday, because you were putting together a car late in the week, right?
Yeah, I was putting that car together. I ran it 3 times on Saturday because I wasn't really focused on that class. I was more focused on the Pro Street class. That's the one I kind of really want to win. But I threw the car down, and right away it went like a 39. I'm like, okay, I got something kind of going. But then I turned it up 1%, and it flipped over backwards to 20 feet out. I'm like, oh
wow.
I'm like, okay, I got to work. I did a little more work on this thing. So I kind of went back to the table, kind of created another tune-up, and went down, and I think I went to 22. I'm like, okay, I'm good with that for tomorrow, and go out at Q1 and kind of lay it down to a 20, because I didn't know what anyone else is running. I have no idea. I didn't want to look at anyone else because I kind of wanted to create a little bit of fun and kind of see, where it stacks up at.
Okay. Well, you did that. Yeah. You went at 20 with a 9 and really served notice to the rest of the field. Your dad went a 36 with a 6 for the number 2 spot. Joey Trotman, 269. And then it really, kind of bunched together right there for a little bit. Alan Cryer, 277. Jolida Blanco, good to see her in the class, 279. And then Jorge Rosio, what is that, 286. Carlos Camera. Not sure I'm pronouncing that name right. It looks like Camera. Camara. And then Joey Polk couldn't get down. But sure, Joey in the round 2, he went 325. So he had some trouble there. But nonetheless,
over.
everybody qualified. So that's cool. It's not a quick 8. It's quick,
Yeah.
I think a 16 car field. So everybody, raced. And, round 1, you had the bye run. Jolida went up against, let's see here. There we go. Jolida was able to win her first round, coming in as number 6 qualifier. Faced off against you in round number 2, and you went, ooh, see, that's just disrespectful, man. Y'all, that little girl, but she's tough. He went 219, y'all. 219, no bar, car, 219 with that 0. And he's only going to get better because this young man does a lot of TNT, a lot of R&D work. Put Jolida on the trailer. Then goes up against Joey Polk, who already got past Archie, who already gotten past Clayton. Another classic AJ Joey Polk moment. 218 with a 3? Are you for true? As we say in New Orleans, are you for true?
Yeah, well, because then I started focusing on that car a little bit more turn racing, and I'm like, okay, this thing has a lot more left in the tank. So I was being safe during eliminations. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna kind of turn it up just a little bit.
Give it a little pat on the butt. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So I was like, all right, I'll go a smidge on my percentage, like, because I have I run a 9-point system. So I'm like, okay, I'll just turn off the back half. I'll leave the starting line alone. I'll just turn on the back half of 1%, and it went from 19 to an 18. I'm like, okay, so that does that. I'm like, all right, now I kind of know. So then I kind of did the same thing for the following round.
Man, let's talk about that following round, man. You go up against Joey Trotman, your buddy. Now, he's more of like a teammate, right?
He's more of our security guard.
Security. That's right. But Trotman went a 231.6 in round 1, goes against Alan Cryer 229.9, which those are very fast numbers. Mm-hmm. If AJ was not there, you were not there. And then he goes, then he has the bye run. So he's got the bye run in the semifinals by coming in as your number 2 qualifier. He gets awarded the bye run. He goes up against the heavyweight himself, AJ Marasco, and AJ disrespected everyone again.
That comes back to the pits. Yeah, if you had to be there to hear everything, it was just so fun. He was definitely going at it on the laptop a little bit, plugging in a ton of numbers, not one number, but kind of going all over the place. I'm like, what are you doing? And he goes, well, I'm trying to give it to you. He goes, I'm not close. And man, that was a good 20 minutes back and forth of just having a blast in the pits of just talking smack. And
that's cool.
He definitely I kind of got lucky that he spun the tires because he chopped my head on the tree that time.
He did, yeah. 005 to your 063. So yeah, he left.
I wasn't ready for it.
He left a bunch on there for the taking, but yeah, then he spun the tires. But you go 217 with a 469.3 miles an hour, man. Great job, man. Great job in laying and sort of setting the tone, setting the pace for this new class, man. So congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Super good. Listen, before we go to the next class, folks, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. RCDRL podcast show after this. All right, folks, we are back. And during the break, we never really stopped. AJ was just telling me about how what happens between the starting line and half track, AJ.
Oh, I mean, for me, at least in that class, it's definitely a nail biter for sure. You know, it's as soon as that tree drops and I pull that trigger, I'm just praying that my car is just not flipping over. You know, I gotta until I see that car pass that half track cone, then I'm kind of relaxed. But till then, I'm so tense and nervous. I'm just praying in my head, you know, just like, you know, don't take flight and keep the nose drilled to the ground. And that was just the most exciting part. And then I talked to everyone else, and everyone else is on the back half. I'm like, well, I kind of wish I had yours.
Right,
You know?
right. It's all in the setup. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
That now what you just described reminded me of my Traxxas Funny Car days, what actually started this entire league. It was like if you can get to half track, then it'll start to then track itself. You know, the with the aerodynamics and the wind, you know, and air pushing down on that big body, and you're good. But getting the half track was always tough, you know, when
Yeah.
running it right on the edge, you know, and that's what you want to
Mhm.
do. So, but man, we're going to jump into a Top Alcohol Dragster, you know, not to be confused with its big brother Top Fuel Dragster. We're actually parking Top Fuel this year, guys, at least for now. If a bunch of them show up and want to race, boop, we'll plug it right in. It'll be an exhibition class, and you guys are more than welcome to come out there with your Top Fuel Dragsters. But over in Q2, we're going to start with Q2. Joel Roman goes 136 with a 2:026 reaction time. Brilliant run. Carlos Valentin, we haven't mentioned him yet, but he went right through there. Number 2 spot, 138. Sheila Zayas, that's her name. I was talking about her earlier, being Carlos's sister. She goes through with a brilliant 142 with an 8. And Jolida, 146 with a 3, rounds out the top 4. Jaden Roman, I guess that is Joel's son, right?
Yep.
He's running top alcohol, goes 144 with a 1. I haven't a top alcohol car. I haven't been 144 with a 1 yet. Maybe once. Anyway, Jerry Steele, 153.1, and Jose Torres, 171.9. So he's got a little work to do to get caught up with the field, and I'm sure with the season being young, he'll do just that. And it looks like he stepped up big time in round 1, so he figured something out in that first round. But Joel had the bye run, so he easily advanced to the round 2, and in that Jolida Blanco got past Jaden Roman. I'd have loved to have seen that race. It looked so good on paper. 144 takes out a 146. They both ran 90, basically 91 miles an hour. So that was just a good old drag race right there. Jolida likes to talk. Maybe I can get Jolida on here next show and talk about her top alcohol. And then she faced off against, you know, a multi-year champion in Joel Roman in round number 2. He goes 135. She goes 140 and put him on a trailer with a hole shot. You go, girl. Jolida Blanco winning with a slower, but winning 140 to his 135.5. I had to say it again. I had to say it again. Girls power right there. And she advanced to the finals. On the other side of the ladder, number 3 qualifier, Sheila Zayas, got past Scary Jerry in round 1, running 144. Then she goes up against, look at this, the Vegas line had to be heavy on Carlos Valentin. He's the defending, like, I should know who's the defending champions, you guys, off the top of my head, but I don't. But I think, I know he's a multi-year champion, Carlos Valentin for sure. I think he came close last year. I think he won it this year. So Carlos, defending champion, Sheila Zayas goes 143 with the 1 to his 148. Sheila advances. First race ever, rookie as rookie can be, goes to the finals of Top Alcohol. Sets up an all-girl final, and Jolida, the much younger, much more experienced driver, goes 140 with a 6 to Sheila's 145.7. nothing to lay her head low on. She actually treed Jolida. Check this out, the final. 0:20 reaction time. 0:22 reaction time. How about those ladies, man?
Yeah, I mean, they're killer. I mean, I did watch Jolida, get that whole shot against Joel, and right then and there, I'm like, she's good at cutting the lights. I've watched her a couple times in the top alcohol, and I'm like, she's definitely you could see the focus in her face, and with her being that focused, it's you definitely got to be a little worried about that.
Absolutely. I know for the Gator Nationals coming up, if I'm really hoping that AD is my crew chief, and he actually keeps my top alcohol dragster. I'm really hoping that he comes up and that I'm able to multitask. It's almost impossible for me to actually tune on a car and work the event.
Yeah.
So he's been very gracious to do the honors for me, and I really hope that he comes up there for the Gators and we're able to put a package together. I would love to race Jolida. I would love for her to beat me, but I want her to earn it. You know what I mean? I want her because I will be ready for that reaction time. That girl is lightning. I'd love to beat her, but I'd rather her beat me, but I'm not going to give it to her. Put it like that. So there's your top alcohol. Now we're getting back into, so it's pretty cool, this race run order that you came up with, man. We went, like foam, rubber. Of course, quick 16 is more of a chameleon class, right? You can have just about anything in there. And that's where we're at. We actually had 15 entries in quick 16. So everybody did make the show, which is very rare, but it's cool at the same time. We're just gonna go ahead and it's really hard sometimes to go through bracket. It takes a while. We're just gonna holler at the top. Let's go top 5. Joey Polk came in at 212. Joey Trotman 209. Davey French 197.3, and Jonathan Joyner 189, and Chewy Blanco, your number 1 qualifier, 177.4. That was in Q1, and it looks like the final qualifying order was Chewy, Carlos Valentin. He moved up 8 spots to number 2 spot with a 182.9, and then Alan Cryer jumped in there into the top 8 as well, and came in as your number 5 qualifier, 102. I'm sorry, 201. A little dyslexic. 2015. So there's your top 5. Alan, Dave French, Jonathan Joyner, Carlos Valentin, and Chewy Blanco held on to the number 1 spot. I love drag track. In round 1, Chewy Blanco, number 1 qualifier, so he gets to Byron. Since there was only a 15-car field, he advances to round 2. Archie faces him in round 2. And it is Archie taking out your number 1 qualifier, moving on and to face Raul Figueroa, who is also fairly new to the RCDRL. He advanced to the semifinal, so congratulations there. And in that semifinal, we're just going to keep talking about this side of the board. Raul got past. He was 1,000th of a second off of his dial, and took out your dad, Archie, in a heck of a good semifinal, it looks like. Wow. On the other side of the ladder, folks, it was the man himself, Jonathan Joyner, faced off against you in round number 1. Looks like you got DQ'd for some reason. Both of you went in the low 190s. What happened there?
I tapped the wall just right at the finish line, and I told them. Obviously, they saw it, and I turned around and made sure they knew. It was a good race. Kind of going to that. I talked to John before that, and we're just kind of just testing, really, just kind of mainly for Pro Street, and I kind of gathered the car back together because in qualifying, like I was saying, it was definitely, it got out of hand for a little bit, and kind of gathered everything back, and then obviously get the 191. It had the front tires up all the whole way, Like it was,
Wow,
I was on the back
really?
tire the whole way. I couldn't steer it because I was cranked right, and I tried not to lifting because kind of in race mode there for a little bit, and the car was still going, and then it started to definitely drift a little bit left on me, and I'm like, you know what, it's so close to the finish line, and I kind of stayed in a little bit longer than I wanted to, and just nicked it right at the finish line. I'm like, dang it.
Well, you're a good guy to help officiate. I know they got their hands full there. I'll always like an honest racer, man.
Yeah.
It's always good. Jonathan Joyner then went up against Rich Font, got past Rich Font to advance to the semifinals against Joey Polk. Man, Joey Polk, we've mentioned his name a lot. It seemed like he couldn't get past the semifinals though, but he had a whole lot of as the season goes on, it's not how many wins you have. For me, it's how many times you can get to the semifinals. You know what I mean? And you're usually in the points chase a conversation. So he may not have advanced to the finals, but he collected a whole lot of points this weekend. And Jonathan Joyner did get past him to advance against Raul, and then Jonathan Joyner wound up taking the win. And like I said, it's hard to he goes 190 in the final, but they don't really give your dial-ins and all that kind of good stuff. Congratulations to Jonathan Joyner. Multi-year champion takes the win, and congratulations to Raul Figueroa. Hey man, I think this is your first race. I know we talked on the phone. In fact, I helped you with your profile picture. He was literally driving. I said, man, look, you went to a final. I need your picture. He took a picture of himself driving from the racetrack, and hey, it worked out. Got his picture on there and everything else. We talked about these two guys earlier in I think it was Top Fuel Funny Car. This new gen team just really had a heck of a week. They both went to the finals in Top Fuel Funny Car. Carlos took the win in Pro Mod, and now in Pro Stock, another new class for 2022 is Pro Stock. It's not new to the league, but it's new for Florida. And the guys did a successful campaign to get it installed. Unfortunately, Top Fuel Dragster took the hit, but it was warranted with the numbers. And I was happy to see at race number 1, you guys had 6 entries, man. That was cool. And of those 6 entries, the new gen team came in there, and with 2 of those 6 entries, took number 1 and the number 2 spot. And Jaden Roman, number 3 spot, Joel in the number 4 spot, and look at Jorge Rosalie. All right, and their son. That's cool. It's like a huge family affair. I didn't notice that till just now, dude. It's pretty cool. All right, you got father, son. You got father, son, and then you got teammates. That's cool. I like that.
I didn't know they were running it until I walked down there to go see how they're just to kind of check on them, see if they need anything, and he's like, he showed me the Pro Stock. I'm like, are you guys running that? And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, dang. I'm like, that's kind of cool, to kind of get to see, him, the father and son, kind of both race. And it's really cool. They're such a nice group of people.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, unfortunately, father and son did have to race in first round, the Roman family. And Jaden got past his dad in round 1. He faced Carlos Zayas, and that's where the buck stopped right there, because Carlos then advanced to the finals. On the other side of the ladder, it was his teammate and number 1 qualifier, Jose Carrion, getting past Rosalie Jr. in round 1. And Rosalie Jr., 217, had a good pass, but he could not stand up to the 173.3 from Jose Carrion. And then Jose, by being number 1, got the bye run in round 2, and then advanced against his teammate. And it looks like Carlos took the win, 179.9. Carrion did not finish. So congratulations, teammates. Winner, Carlos, and runner-up, Jose. Very good. Over in Street Eliminator, very popular class, 19 entries. Of course, we take a quick 32 bracket in Street Eliminator in our Florida market. And not to be confused with Texas, we're at a 16-car bracket here. And but you guys have the numbers to justify that. Like a lot of times your numbers are in the high 20s. There have been times where it's been in the 30s. So we run you guys on a 32-car bracket, and pretty much everybody races, but you got to go 5 rounds to win it. So did you get in that one?
No, I did not.
Okay. So just real quick then, coming in, Joey Pope, your number 1 qualifier with a 228 with a 9. Jonathan Joyner Jr. came in number 2. I'm gonna screw this guy's name up, but and John, I apologize. I'm terrible at spelling. Los Angeles Unified School District spelling and or pronunciations in this case. Marco, I don't know. I'm terrible at that. Alan Cryer, it took me forever to figure out that last name. I was like, it looks like Crayer. He's like, just cry. I'm like, I got it. Alan Cryer, number 4 qualifier. Morgan McFarland, number 5. Bob Jobs, haven't mentioned his name. Good to see you back, sir. Ed Fulis, it's almost like flawless. Number 7, and Jolita, number 8. That's your top 8, top half of the field. And going into elimination rounds, Joey Polk with that number 1 qualifying spot got the bye run in round 1, advanced against Richard Madera in round number 2. He did get past Richard to advance against Kevin McCoy in round number 3. Now, this was 5 rounds of racing. He did get past Kevin McCoy and went up against the coach, Damian Dunn. Damian Dunn advanced all the way to the semifinals, but was put on the trailer by Joey Polk, and Polk advanced to the finals. On the other side of the ladder, it was Jonathan Joyner Jr., the man that plays multiple sports, came out to play with us this weekend, got past Mr. Rich Font in round 1. Then he got it up against the talented Michaela Marasco, got past her, and then went up against Justin McFarland in the quarterfinals. Got the bye run in round number 4. The semifinals advanced to the finals, face off against Joey Polk, and it was Joey Polk cutting a nice 065 light to Jonathan Joyner's 118, running 41 off of his dial to take the win and the street eliminator points lead. Congratulations, Joey, there. Great job. You know, Joey is not around the corner either, man. He drives like 5 hours, you know.
He's pretty much in Texas.
Yeah, really, right? We're closer to 19 hours, trust me. I'm eyeballing that for the Gators. I'm like, am I going to do that run or am I going to do that flight, you know? That's a tough one. We have 2 more classes to go, guys. So please stay with us here. Young Gunners, we just want to highlight these folks, man. Y'all do, you know, you're out there all day long. We could take a little time to honor you guys on this recap version of the show. In Young Gunners, you know, we moved you guys down the list a little bit. You guys used to come out second. Now you come out second from last. I want to get some feedback from the Young Gunners on that. There's a lot of waiting around, but hopefully they're out having a good time. I've seen them playing volleyball. I've seen them do all kind of stuff, man. So your number 1 qualifier, Jam Paul Torres, came in as your number 1 qualifier. And this is all based on reaction time. So it's pretty much setting the field. You know, your faster car does not get awarded for going fast. It's more of the driver that is awarded for being better talented, I guess you can call it, or making them earn it, taking the car equation out of it. It's more of a time trial to set the field is how we set it here and in all running as well. But Jackson Polk, after round 1, had the number 1 qualifying spot. Then Jam Paul came in and took it from him with a brilliant 023 reaction time to take the number 1 spot. Jackson got bumped down the number 2 spot. Jorge Rosley Jr., number 3, Jolida, number 4, Haley Marasco, number 5, Khalid Valentin, number 6, Quentin Wright, number 7, and Michaela, number 8. So that's your top 8 or your 8. There were only 8 competitors, which is actually a really good number for young gunners. I wish we had that many here. Michaela, coming in as your number 8 qualifier, got past your number 1 qualifier in Jan Paul Torres. She advanced to the second round to face Jolida. Jolida got past Haley in round 1. Jackson Pope, your number 2 qualifier, advanced past Mr. Wright to have the right face George Rosley Jr. in round number 2. However, that's where the buck stopped at. Rosley Jr. got past him to advance to the finals. He faced off against the winner between Michaela Marasco and Jolida Blanco. Michaela did take the win, cut an 0.23 light, and was only 59 off of her dial to take the win in advance against Rosley Jr. In that final, she cut a monster hole shot on him, 0.96 to his 164. She was only 18 off of her dial. Great job, young lady. She goes 295 with an 8 to take the win and the Young Gunners points lead. Go ahead, girl. She was so gracious last year when her sister won. Haley, won that Young Gunner championship. She was so great. She was so happy. It was really cool. Michaela, very talented driver, had a really good year in 2020, and just fell off a little bit last year and came up a little short. But it was cool to see her sister win. Speaking of her sister, speaking of Michaela, we had 20 entries in all-run bracket. They ran right through the entire field and faced off against each other in the final. And I didn't know that till just now. I happened to look down at my phone and I see that Michaela, coming in as your number 9 qualifier, took out her sister, number 14 qualifier. So that means them two had to fight through the field of your number 1s, your number 2s, and your top 8 and advance to the final. So great job, young ladies. Great job, Marasco family, Archie and AJ. You help your sisters, I'm sure. You guys have your hands full over there. A huge team. Great job in tuning them and working with them. I do want to say the J Concepts Whole Shot Award goes to Mr. Roy Brand Jr. and Clayton. You guys both cut double O2 reaction times. Look for some awards on that special feat at the next race in March. I believe you guys are racing again March 19th and 20th.
Yep.
So great job. Overall, outstanding job. Like I said before, guys, 120 entries to kick off the 2022 season. Amazing job. How would you once again sum up this weekend's race?
Oh, I mean, it was a great, everyone had a great time. Always look forward to it. The March 19th can't come fast enough. It always seems like it's forever. So we always look forward to the next race. It's one race is never enough. We would keep going if we had the choice to. That's for sure.
Texas used to have this thing called the NHRA. I don't know if you're familiar. They have the Western Swing, right? Where it's 3 weekends in a row. They travel all over. It's very demanding on the race teams, everything like that. Texas had we had the Texas Two-Step, which is back-to-back weekends, and then we did the Texas Swing. It's called the Texas Swing, 3 weekends in a row. It was brutal, it was expensive, but it was momentumous, meaning when you came out of those 3 races in a row, you knew so much more about your car and your racing program. It was amazing. We all stepped up. It was amazing.
Yep. And that's kind of the way I think, after that race weekend, I'm just constantly thinking of what to do next.
Yeah.
Of either working on my car or where to go race next, So, I'm that type of person to be very eager to keep it going. you know.
I heard about you and Richard Madera
Yep.
out there practicing all the time. All the time, but that's great. R&D, it's all about that. When you have the time, you don't have kids, you're not married, so why not? Yeah, absolutely, man. That's cool. That's kick butt cool. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. I just want to thank everybody for participating. Not just the winners, not just the runner-ups, but you all make a difference out there at the RCDRL, regardless of where you're at. If you're in Texas, if you're in Florida, Puerto Rico, we haven't talked about them. They're getting their season started, their point season. They already had the Winter Nationals, but they'll be getting their point season started, I believe, the same weekend, 3, 19, and 20. And if I'm not mistaken, I got a lot of going on in my head until the season starts and things start to really flow. And we're still trying to, get things straight here in Texas. So more about that later. But man, congratulations! Thank you so much, AJ, for coming on the show, and to help relaunch the RCDRL show here. So it was fun, and hey, come on back anytime you want. I know you're a book of knowledge, and so yeah, please come back anytime you want.
I appreciate you having me on, and like I said, we definitely it's definitely a pleasure to be talking about drag racing. It's something I think we always need, and love talking about it. It's just something I have a passion for, and let's keep it going.
Yeah. I'm really glad that gotta give credit where credit's due. Chewy Blanco, he came to me mid-season. It's like, Mike, we got to do something about True Street, 13.5. For those that don't know, 13.5, True Street, same class here with the RCDRL. And gosh, I'm having trouble saying RCDRL tonight. I don't know. Used to have it, keep stuttering, but anyway. And I was like, man, it's like, I'm kind of glad in one regard. I don't just arbitrarily add something, you know what I mean? We would have 30 classes if I listened to everybody. Just like when Street Eliminator first came on the scene, I've always given credit to Mike File because he poked me in the off season constantly in the ribs, like, constantly. Mike, we need this, we didn't even have the name back then. And then finally, when he explained to me this rubber tire, 2-cell, a muscle car body, it's like they weren't even making them back then. Like, this is when JD and then Concepts kind of got together. Yep. It was right before that. It was Mike's brainchild. And I finally put the rubber stamp on it. I had nothing to really do with the design of it all. It was all Mike File, and then JD and he got together, and JD took it to another level. He took it to more or less a corporate level, and not just a house build. And I see the same thing happening. I said all that to say I see the same thing happening with Super Street, and in the essence of taking a class that it was a cool concept, and some guys in Arizona. I don't know if it was Billy Shaw or no, because Billy Shaw wasn't really into drag racing back then, but it was somebody in Arizona who warned me, hey man, we've tried it. It's impossible to police because you're not going to be able to tear down these motors, and guys are, tricking them out. When you're saying 13.5, it's not going to be nothing. And I'm like, well, the guys in Florida want it, this, that, and the other. They can police themselves or whatever. And then it became a very serious class. And with serious, with serious integrity issues, and so we saw the writing on the wall. And company that you work for now is a very nice guy. I think his name is Kevin.
Yep, Kevin.
Yeah, he reached out to me and says, "Man, you need to do something about this." And and I have to be slow to react because I have to. Get the facts, and I can do fact finding missions and interviews and research, and so but we did act, and I credit Kevin for bringing it to my attention, and then of course it spilled out all over the internet, towards the end of last year about what was going on with R1, and, we have outlawed that version for 13.5. If we ever brought 13.5 back in any capacity, that particular R1 version 1 is outlawed. But I think Super Street, man, is probably the way to go.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be something to grow because, you're kind of taking that tech aspect out of it, to where you're not stuck to a turn motor, and then you have different stators hidden in those cans, so
Correct. And that was all Chewy, man. Chewy fought for it. JoJo, my husband really wants to talk to you again about that. I was like, get to it. And then I think he talked to you guys, right? I think he kind of started getting them around.
Yeah, I was definitely fighting for it, because it was good in the beginning. It was actually really good in the beginning because we were all so close, and then until that one motor drops, when it just separated everything, it just went downhill from there. Until that happened, I thought everything was going great and well, and the class was super fun. It came down to the tree, everyone was within a tenth or two, and then that happened. Then it just became not fun from there. So
it just kind of exploded. Yeah. So. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but you know what? Through everything, there's silver linings, and I think as long as what's his name, AJ does not kill the class, this will also be a fun class. You guys got to catch up. R&D. Don't just show up on race day thinking that you're gonna catch this guy. You know what I'm saying? He's doing a lot of research. So. But congratulations, man, on a great start to what looks like it's going to be another great season. And keep up the great work. Check on Kevin when you can. He's doing a great job over there at Tech. You guys just kind of rally around him like you guys do with JoJo and everybody else. So, and I'll get there. I know I'm not scheduled to be there in March, but I will be there at the Gators, and we'll pick something else as long as it's not the Love Bug Nationals, man. That's a disgusting race.
I know
that one, man. I swear that one was nasty. And then there was something else that it was the Love Bugs,
the acorns,
but there was another type of bug. I thought maybe not.
Well, we have those and mosquitoes. That's about it.
Yeah,
that's all we got.
Yeah. That's all you got. That's enough.
That's enough.
Yeah.
The mosquitoes have their own zip code, so that's enough.
Yeah, they're the size of Volkswagens too.
Exactly.
All right, man. Well, thanks again for coming on the show, man. We appreciate you. And folks out there, thank you for hanging in there with us. I hope you had a good time. And let me know what you guys want to talk about in the future. And we'll see you back on the RCDRL video podcast show, or whatever we're going to call this thing. All right, AJ, thank you, man. Take care. We'll see you next time.
I appreciate it. See you.
Take care.